look, depending on the played time, you get a cut of that $30. Kind of like how YouTube Red works. Could see it being very successful, and if they set it up right, they're going to come into no problems, I'm sure. So
yeah, I mean that could be one way of doing it. The way Netflix does it is just by paying huge amounts in licensing fees in order to with the production companies that make the show or whatever, or the movie or anything like that.
yeah.
So like Paramount or whoever, Lionsgate. So they do it that way. But this is a concept that I actually am quite surprised hasn't really taken off.
Yeah,
by
well, maybe.
now.
Now that
Yeah.
it'll gain more sort of awareness, I'd imagine it'll start gaining traction. I mean, because it's not Steam doing it. Steam's the big boy. So if Steam did it, then sure, it'd gain much more traction.
Oh yeah, it would, but they're never going to do it. Steam's making that Valve makes so much money.
Oh, Gaben's in
With
paradise,
Steam.
man. Gaben's just in
I know.
paradise. He doesn't even release Half-Life 3. Doesn't need to. It's just like, life's good, man. Got the script ready.
Oh,
Don't wanna
yeah,
make the game.
all that money.
But yeah, let's move on to the Q&A now, guys. So we've got, if you guys want to ask questions, you don't have to be on the live stream to do it. You can just head over to techcity.tv/forum. Join up. So easy to join up. Just make an account and then post. And every week we're going to be doing a thread there where we just ask you questions. So this a couple of days ago, I made a thread and got a few questions here. So someone wants to, Nelly Nelson wants me to explain the effed up relationship for price performance of new versus second-hand tech. I wouldn't call it effed up, I wouldn't call it messed up. I'd say it's just the way it goes. There's new doesn't carry that risk, right? You've got the warranty there. You've got the guaranteed it's going to work. If it doesn't, I can take it back. Used, you've always got the chance of getting hosed. But that being said, when you go used and it does work out, man, can you get some deals? Mainly because a lot of the people who sell those used parts don't know exactly what those products are worth. They just want to get rid of it, get cash, because they bought their new tech, they upgraded, they just want to offload. So the price performance of new versus used PC parts should always have better price performance than new, and if it didn't, then that's just messed up. Yeah, so it's always going to have better, of course, but it's always going to carry more risk in a nutshell. So that's, I've been hosed quite a few times. I recently got hosed with an R9 280X as well. That was a big hosing. So you get hosed, you win some, you lose some. So also we got asked in the next year from Aaron the Great, what CPUs will drop in price after Ryzen comes out? New Xeon generation maybe? That's actually a good question because Ryzen is looking to be legit, right? So this question is not too out of the fence, out of the ballpark. I would say Intel will respond. They will have to drop their prices if AMD's chips are indeed that good, especially in terms of value for money. It'll hit the used market as well. Damn, that's like, it's going to hit all markets, just like the RX 480 and RX 470 brought the whole market down in terms of price and gave us way more competition. Ryzen's looking like it's going to be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I mean, I don't really know exactly what's going to happen. I just know prices will drop. So what CPUs? I'd say a lot of them, will drop in price.
Yeah, the new. I mean, I know he's asking for used ones, but the Intel current lineup at its current pricing will definitely change after Ryzen. You can guarantee that, or I would be very surprised if Intel did not change pricing.
It's supply and demand. It's supply and demand. They have to. Like if they're shipping CPUs, if they've got their production line set up, they invested billions and billions of dollars into this production factory. They want that thing constantly churning out chips, and if it's not, then they're going to have to lower the prices. It's all about supply and demand at the end of the day. So yeah, expect Ryzen is as good as it is. You can expect a lot of CPUs to come down in price, a lot of them, if not all the consumer desktop CPUs. So it'll be a big kick in the pants. So overclocking, I find that. Oh, you can add in any time, Kev. Sorry, I don't want to exclude you from the discussion.
No. I agreed with what you're saying. Yeah. You move on to the next question. Yeah.
So overclocking. I find that when I overclock the CPU, the RAM timings need to be lowered to keep it all stable. The RAM is also overclocked. Getting so what's best, getting max megahertz out of RAM or keeping the speed lower and making the TRAS settings as low as possible? I would go with keeping the timings lower than max speeds, because you want to get your command cycle, your total command, whatever T, you want to get that to TRAS, you want to get that low as possible too, but you also want to get your command timings down to from 2 to 1. That's the biggest one. Of course, XMP profiles, and I've said this before, XMP profiles are good, especially compared to default. Default's like the worst. The worst you can do is just leave your RAM on default out of the box to 2100, 13.3 megahertz, 15, 15, 15, 36, 2. That's the worst you can do out of the box. I would overclock your RAM a little bit, and that's why XMPs, for me, I recommend XMPs a lot, because they give you a massive performance boost over the out of the factory settings if your memory does have XMPs, and it requires absolutely no time at all. Like, absolutely, you just go into your BIOS, XMP, bang it in, quit, and it'll do all the rest for you. Keep in mind though, on some of the later Intel platforms, you have to be careful of leaving your system agent voltage on auto. I noticed that with the recent testing of the Kaby Lake. Man, some of those system agent voltages were going ridiculously high, and you could cook your chip by doing that. But in essence, yeah, you should try to lower the timings at, say, I think the sweet spot for DDR4 memory is around 2400 megahertz to 2600 megahertz with low timings, especially if you're a gamer. That'd be where you'd want to get those timings down, and you won't have to pump as much voltage through, hopefully, as you would, say, 3 gigahertz memory overclocks. So yeah. But he said it needs to be lowered. The timings need to be lowered to keep the RAM stable. That's interesting. It's usually the other way. You usually have to higher the time, make the timings higher.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's just a typo there. But yeah, good question. Good question, actually. That was a really good one. Thanks, Waver D. So hi, Brian and Kev. Really look forward to Ryzen now. We all are, man. Gert Tractor. Dirt Tractor, Gert Tractor. I'm particularly keen to find out what the overclocking potential will be, especially for the cheaper chips in each core category. Are they binned differently? Where are the best places to go to find information on average overclockable capabilities for the various SKUs? I'm guessing Reddit or some other forum. Just wondering, where are the places you would look for this information? You won't be able to find that information out until the release date. Sure, no one's going to. With that many chips is going to be leaking that information. Asus, it's actually funny because Asus usually around the time of release have really good guides on, because they get a heap of chips for testing their motherboards. They usually have around 50 to 100 CPUs, and they do those averages for you guys. That's one thing I'll be looking out for. Is I'd say, like, guessing the Asus page, because they really do give a great article on where the majority of the chips go in terms of clock speeds, and you'll be able to check from there if there is some binning going on and whatnot. So I'm really looking forward to that article from Asus, because they usually do it. In the past, they've done a really good job of doing that. Hopefully there's some other sources that come out. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, no, I was just going to say the overclocking question in regards to Ryzen is something that everybody wants the answer to. From what I've read so far, it seems to be similar to Broadwell E, more closer in terms of overclocking capability than Kaby Lake, in the sense that I think you're going to be getting them up to 4.2, 4.3, maybe 4.4, and that might be about it. I hope that's not the case, but that's what it seems like right now. In terms of finding out how good they're going to be, yeah, as Brian said, the motherboard manufacturers oftentimes will release information on that. Otherwise, I'm sure you'll watch lots of videos from tech YouTubers like myself and Brian and all the rest of the guys when they start testing the Ryzen chips and doing overclocking, and that should give you a general idea as well, because if they're all, say if you watch 10 tech YouTubers test out the 1600X, for example, and they all seem to say, well, I got about 4.2 or 4.3 out of it and it didn't really want to go any faster, then that's pretty good. You should assume that if you buy one, it will be similar. Other than that, there's plenty of forums you can go on to, like the Tech City forums, there's overclocking forums as well, where people, I'm sure there'll be heaps of people talking about what they can get out of them.
Or even the
My
Russian,
prediction
even
right
the
now.
Russian forums, man. Those Russians they're on their game, man, when it comes to the overclocking. So
Yeah,
just go Google
so I think that's-
Translate. So they'll tell you where the engineering samples are at too. So, but yeah, guys. So that's it for the questions this week. If you guys want to ask questions and if you say you missed the live stream, then be sure to head over to the forums and join, and we'll answer them next week for you guys. So I'll be making a new article. And of course, I'll probably head over to the chat. We've got the live chat going on right now. I'm just going to head into the chat and just chat with you guys. And we'll catch you guys next week for episode 16 of the Tech Lounge. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. And big thanks to Kev for joining us this week. Kev, you got any closing statements?
Oh, just this is great, and I'm really looking forward to Ryzen now. We're close, only 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff, so many leaks coming out now. It's just crazy. So obviously we are very close to release date, because that's when you get all these huge amounts of leaks coming out.
Yeah, but apparently there's this thing going on out there, AMD-itis or something. Like apparently people's PPs are just being too erect for too long, that they're falling off now. Like that's apparently a rumor going, because they're just watching the rumors and they're it's getting too erect. Like that's a problem. So I hope people fix that on release date. So. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you guys next week for the Tech Lounge. Thank you all for joining in, and we'll catch you guys next time. So,
see you guys.
Yeah, see you guys.
It seems no day is complete recently without your daily dose of Ryzen news, and thankfully we have got some, as we have the entire range of the Ryzen AM4 motherboards pictured in full detail. So the X370, B350 and so on. We have some lovely pictures as well as information on the full range of Ryzen motherboards. So essentially the AMD AM4 platform has 5 SKUs, which has the X370 Enthusiast, B350 Mainstream, A320 Essential, the X300 Enthusiast SFF, and A300 Essential SFF. AMD has 42 new motherboards, which is pretty crazy. Of course, I'm not going to go through 42 motherboards here, that would be insane, but I am going to give you some overall specs for some of them, as well as, of course, showing off all the pictures. So let's kick things off with the X370 and X300 for Enthusiast and SFF for motherboards. Now again, this is the high-end chipset meant for people who just want a high-quality motherboard, and those who are very into that overclocking, and gives some pretty nice low-level control and has some tasty graphics card bandwidth to offer as well. AMD is of course referring to the PCI Express lanes, it's referring to bandwidth, and this is the only chip in the stack that actually supports multi-GPU. It supports both Crossfire and SLI, and of course the series will have dual channel DDR4, M2 SATA, USB 3.1, as well as of course PCIe, as well as a bunch of other features I'm not going to go through because some of the features of the motherboard, I might as well just start reading the dictionary, but those are probably the features that you care about the most. Now of course I mentioned the overclocking support on the X370, and again it does have full overclocking support with a quite sophisticated GUI that will allow you to just overclock with ease really, which is all you really want, just making that process a bit less painful, a bit less time consuming is always good. Of course, as with any overclocking, it will undoubtedly still require a bit of tweaking to get the best results. Now, as for the B350, that also as well features overclocking support, but does have lower lanes compared to that of the X370, since AMD has the belief that a lot of users aren't going to be going multi-GPU in this particular area. However, compared to its AM3 Plus predecessor, it does have a 70% power reduction, which is also really nice, and we also have a improved DDR4 memory controller, which of course has 22% more bandwidth compared to DDR3, which is nothing to sneeze at. Now of course that leaves us with the A320 and A300 for both Essential and SFF for motherboards. Now these are of course the low-end chipsets and is basically just your Essential platform, and replaces the 760G and A68H based platforms. Now, most of the features from the B350 are going to be here, but there's not going to be any overclocking support on these motherboards. However, we do still have 4 PCIe Gen 2 lanes, and of course USB 3.1, so on and so forth. So these are your more sort of basic, yeah they work, but there's no extra fancy features motherboards for those who are looking for a cheaper but still efficient Ryzen build for the future. And of course the A300 is for the smaller form factor, which is what SFF needs obviously, and generally HTPC builds, and has the best efficiency when it comes to both power and space in the entire product stack. And this has apparently been exclusively built for the SFF niche. Now again, this does have limited functionalities, but will be extremely cheap to again allow not only for these SFF setups, but to of course just get the Ryzen build off the ground just for a little less investment. Now as well as all of this, we have a huge amount of pictures from MSI, ASRock, Gigabyte, ASUS and BioStar for their motherboards. Now basically what I'm going to do is in this video I will have shown one of each brand, but again we have a huge amount of pictures. So there'll be a link in the description below this video to an article where there'll be the full range of photos available for those. Of course I would have already shown the B350 and so on that I've already spoken about, but if you want to see the full range of MSI and ASRock and so on that are on offer, I suggest you check out the link below. Fortunately there's just way too much to show in this video with the time we have left, and so that's pretty much the end of the information for today. However, there you can find pricing information and so on, so you can get a good picture of what board, or at least something to research further if perhaps you're interested in picking up Ryzen when it finally releases. So, there you have it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
The altars belong to those who claim them. That means you.
Loud and clear. Right on. Terminating with extreme prejudice. I'll make it happen. Terminate this hero.
This round,
This is not the end. No.
something about being dropped into a brand new game world and finding it to be dense with deeply considered lore, terrifyingly aggressive creatures, and tantalizing questions that leave an indelible mark on the memory. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of those games. Coupled with wonderfully flexible combat and a story that touches on unexpectedly profound themes, I found it hard to tear myself away from Horizon even after I'd finished its main campaign some 40-odd hours later. A sense of urgency is established from the get-go, as Horizon's premise is a big mystery that begs to be solved. The questions raised by our protagonist, a woman named Aloy, and the primitive, feral, machine-infested open world she inhabits kept me guessing throughout. What's at the center of it all? Although there's some occasionally corny dialogue,
That sounds ominous.
the broader ideas it prods at are remarkably ambitious. Aloy's dry wit that tempers her big-hearted heroism made me care about her journey on a more personal level.
So you'll cry for her, but you won't speak to me.
Though you have some say on the way she responds to situations in the interests of dialogue flavor, she remains largely a well-intentioned character, which is in step with the broader story.
Aloy, we cannot.
Horizon's combat is its most compelling feature, thanks to the variety found within 26 distinct species of animal-like machines. These authentically animalistic beasts each have several weak points, and hitting different points can have different results that change the way a fight plays out. Send a piercing arrow into the toxic-looking cargo sack of a bellowback, for example, or down a glint by destroying the free sack on its chest. It's breathless stuff, and there are no hand-holding tutorials telling you how to best approach the beasts, which makes for more rewarding wins. For Aloy's part, her arsenal is largely tricked-out primitive weaponry. Her upgradable bows and elemental-infused arrows feel great to use thanks to her concentration skill that slows down time. She also has access to a handful of more elaborate devices like the rope caster or the trip caster. Though in practice these weapons are a little slow and fiddly, and I found the most challenging machines were too fast and too powerful to use them in a genuinely effective way. After I learned how to fight competently, Horizon continually made me feel like a ridiculously accomplished warrior, without sacrificing the vital sense that every major battle could easily result in my death. Dodging attacks requires constant rolling, all the while using the quick on-the-fly crafting system to build ammo specifically to counter the threat. Not that Horizon encourages you just to blindly wander into every fight and start shooting. A lot of the machines roam in packs, so if you're not careful, you can be outnumbered within seconds. To counter this, there's generally a chance for a stealth kill. It's a shame luring specific machines away from their packs is so time-consuming though. Often simple hunts for a single animal evolve into massive fights. Alternatively, Aloy doesn't have to do all the work herself, as she eventually discovers how to override the machine's brains. As you upgrade your skill tree, these overrides can last for longer, which allows you to essentially build up a small army of loyal, vicious steeds. Got you! While they're not as engaging as their mechanical counterparts, there are human targets too. Aside from the fact that, like in other half-stealth games, you can't hide bodies. Somebody's down over there! I had the most fun stealthing these guys. Clearing these enemy camps is one of the many incidental side activities scattered across Horizon, a variety which also includes digging in ancient bunkers for clues from the past, tracking machines through dedicated hunting grounds, and climbing to the top of giant tall necks to unlock more of the map. It's nothing we haven't seen before in other games of this ilk, but thanks to the promise of XP and loot, it's all very compulsive. On top of that, the post-apocalyptic landscape itself is beautiful and terrifying, so journeying through it in search of things to do between main quests is usually a reward of its own. Snowy vistas, autumnal forests, and vast deserts are beautifully realized, even kept at 30 frames per second as it is. That's true on PlayStation 4 Pro as well, where it runs in a stunning 4K mode. Though I noticed the occasional pop-in and judder, Horizon's visuals keep up with Aloy, and impressively I didn't notice any significant glitches in its massive open world.
Well, well, look who's come in from the wild, the motherless outcast.
Humans of this world have been reduced back to a tribal state, and each tribe has its own identity shaped by unique mythologies that are interesting to delve into. It's at these settlements that you'll be given your missions, both the urgent high-stakes main quests and side quests. While the latter are as lengthy as the main missions, they do unfortunately quickly fall into regular fetch quest patterns.
So it's rabbits and your trinket you need this time.
I would have liked a little more originality to keep them from blurring together into one. Main missions, on the other hand, cleverly weave current-day politics into a quest to solve the mysteries of the old world. I found myself switching between chasing the ghosts of the past in the deep, dark bunkers of lost technology, for example, and solving the murder of a tribal leader. Horizon encourages you to chase your own story, but help others a little on the way too, and its ultimate reveal is smart and provocative, and worth the journey.
You have no idea.
Across a vast and beautiful open world, Horizon Zero Dawn juggles many moving parts with polish and finesse. Its main activity, combat, is hugely satisfying thanks to the varied design and behaviours of machine creatures that roam its lands, each of which needs to be taken down with careful consideration. Though side questing could have been more imaginative, its missions are compelling thanks to the central mystery that led me down a deep rabbit hole to a genuinely surprising and bold conclusion. For more on Horizon Zero Dawn, stick with IGN.
Excellent!
When buying a new TV, the most important specs are its resolution, its size, and its price. For this video, I'm going to assume that the resolution that you want is 4K, and after that, you should get the TV that has the largest screen size possible while staying within your budget, of course, whether that's $500 or $3,000. I recently spent just under $800 on this 65-inch 4K LG TV, which I got at Target after my wife spotted it on Slick Deals with a very nice discount. Who, by the way, I would not like to thank for sponsoring this video, because this video is not sponsored by anyone, so LG and Target and Slick Deals can suck it. Not my wife, though. Point being that I thought you guys might like to hear what my other qualifications for a good future-ready 4K TV were before I made this purchase, since it's probably a popular upgrade item this holiday season. So here are my 4 rules for buying a 4K TV. Rule number 1 is seek the ideal inputs. For most people, this means at least 3 HDMI 2.0A inputs with at least one that is HDCP 2.2 ready. HDMI 2.0A will give you support for 4K 3840 by 2160 resolution as an input, also HDR, wide color gamut, and all of that at up to 60 frames per second. HDCP is high bandwidth digital content protection, and although we might not like it, we will need that if we want to have support for playing back